Welcome to the Friends in Film podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to give you insights into succeeding in the film industry that you will not hear about anywhere. Not in film school, not online, not even from the people on film sets. I teach you the art of building a career in a connection-based business. You've been through the awareness phase, you've been through the fascination phase, maybe you went to film school, but now it's time for the implementation phase, and that's what this is all about. Having an extraordinary successful career in the professional film industry. Okay, so I just finished a 2-day job, and let me tell you about this job. Okay, so these are with some people that are my faves. So I worked with Alex when he was a production manager, and he was working as a production manager for Johnny Dawes, who was a producer at that time. And always loved Alex. And, it's great to start to establish these relationships with production managers and coordinators when, they're often in the motorhome, they're in the production office, they come onto set, and you have these great conversations. You also negotiate with the production manager and the coordinator because, they're the ones that are actually handling the money, and the producer is there to make sure that, of course, they're responsible for the money and that production manager is working for them or with them, but the producer is on set with the director and talking to the executives and the clients, and so they're doing that job on set, making sure that what we're shooting is what was promised. So the production manager and coordinator are great because when you talk, you get a lot of interfacing with them. The producer is so busy on set, and of course, you want to have a great relationship with them. But as far as building relationships, production manager and coordinator are very accessible, and you have a lot of reason to be talking to them during the shoot, before the shoot, and sometimes after the shoot. So before the shoot, you're finding about what you're shooting and maybe some details and asking you if you can speak with the AD. Perhaps you're doing some negotiating on the rate because they needed to come in at a certain amount, but they want more. They don't know how things are going to happen on that set with what the director is going to need. So there's some negotiation there that needs to happen in a very positive and, you want the project to work out best for them kind of way. And you can show your way of thinking, which is very, very good for relationship building. And those production managers and coordinators are going to be moving up into producers and production managers. The coordinator is going to become a production manager. The production manager is going to become a producer. And what that means is that they are going to be the ones that hire you for the next 10 and 20 years. So the relationships are formed now with those people. Okay, so this is just so important for people to understand. A lot of people don't even think about this. And so that's exactly what happened on this shoot. The production manager, Alex, moved up to being a producer, and now he calls me. He has the power to call me. His production manager will move up to being a producer down the road, and then he will call me, and his coordinator will move up, and then he will call me. And so you form these relationships, and really how you form them is through playful, delightful, and of course you've got to play the game right so that they get what they need from the production. So for instance, if the budget is at a certain level, then you have to and they want the world, you have to very carefully negotiate with them so that they feel like you're on their side, you're working with them. And sometimes, you're going to have to let some things go in the negotiation just to keep everybody happy and show them that you're really on their side, because there's always a conflict between production and what we're actually, what we're doing on set. Because production wants it to be as low as possible, what they pay as low as possible. And of course, myself, the DP, everybody on that set wants to get paid as much as possible. So and the production manager understands that because they want to get paid as much as possible. But, and they also sometimes have to cut their rates or cut what they're offering, that they would like to get paid more. So then they see you, if you negotiate hard, then they're going to be like, oh, they're not part of the team. I'm not going to call them next time because they negotiate too hard and that takes too much of my time. And especially if they get another job that's lower budget, they're going to be like, oh, well, we'll just call somebody else. Just because they don't want to deal with possibly negotiating with somebody that's going to push them on it. So you have to show them. And this is how you're showing them in the process is while you're working together. You're like, oh, I understand, we want to work with this amount, and this is what I see. And you just have to make it make it feel like team. That's the main thing. Make it feel like team. So, yeah, the relationships are built with the people that are coordinating and production managing while they're doing that job. And then as they move up, then those relationships are very important for your career. So Alex moved up to being a producer, and he calls me every single time. So what happened on this shoot was we had a very far away location. It was like 2 hours drive. And Alex, the producer, he lives out by me. And so he was also driving 2 hours. Well, so he got a hotel there. Now, myself, with all my equipment, I'm not going to have a hotel because somebody could come and steal my equipment. So I always will make the drive. But that means that I'm really tired. And a lot of people were making that long drive. So we were all pretty tired. So at lunchtime, I went to my van, I took a nap. And I have a relationship formed with the gang boss, who I've known for also probably 5 or 6 years, and always ask him about himself and his family and his grandkids and all of that. And he tries to park me very close to set, or he really is like, he's like, you're my favorite. And his name's Brian. Anyway, at right after lunch, I was talking to Brian, and he's like, "Yeah, they're gonna have burgers at 3:30." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's a couple hours away." He goes, "Well, there's this great Mexican restaurant that's near crew parking," and he's like, "They got the craft service guy told me that they have the most amazing tortas." Oh, wow. And he's like, "Yeah, so I might go get one of those." He's like, "I'll get one for you." I'm like, "Amazing." I thought that he meant that he was going to go get one at craft service, that they had bought a bunch of them and they were chopping them up, into small pieces and giving. So I thought that's what he meant. But what he meant was he bought me a whole sandwich, which is like $14. So he comes back later and he's like, "Here you go." And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's this big, amazing sandwich." And I'm like, "Well, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you so much." Now, it was huge. And I was so hungry. So I was just like, oh, I could not wait to rip into that. And then I asked Rob, who's sitting next to me, who's doing VTR, "Hey, do you want some of the sandwich?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "You sure? I think this is going to be good." He's like, "Well, maybe I'll take this much." So then I found a knife, I cut it, gave him some. And we started eating this torta, this sandwich. And we're just like, oh my God. We're both like, this is the best thing that we have ever had. It was so good. Like, I could not believe how good it was. And then this other guy came by who was a production manager, but he was working on crew, helping out the food department. And I'm like, "You got to try this. You got to try this." So, as I'm on set, I interact with a lot of people. Like, I'm constantly talking to people. And I let Lucian focus on the next shot and being ready. So I used to not be so social. I used to just be more in my little space. And now I just reach out to everybody, anybody that walks by, anybody that comes over and throws their stuff in my garbage that was sitting next to me. I'm like, "No, sorry, you can't use it. That's the sound garbage." They're like, "Ah ha ha ha." They get the joke. But yeah, I'm really connecting with so many people on set. Anyway, so this guy is like, "I got to get that sandwich." So he gets this. The Brian didn't eat the whole sandwich, so he got the back half of Brian's sandwich, and he was eating. He's like, "This is amazing." And then he ran into the condor. He ran and bumped his head, which he's okay, but that's how good the sandwich was. So we all got to blame Brian for having this most amazing sandwich that we were all just like, could not believe how good it was. Anyway, so then I told Kyle and Ryan, who were in the motorhome. That's the production manager and coordinator, who had the motorhome over by crew parking, to go to this place and get one of those sandwiches because it was amazing. And so they're like, "Oh, that sounds good. Thanks so much for sharing." I'm like, "Or you can get burgers at 3:30. Come on over and get burgers." So we're just always kind of keeping the friendship relationship alive. And plus, I love these guys. Anyway, so now it's like 7 o'clock, and a production assistant comes up to me, and she's like, with this big bag, and I recognize the writing on the bag is from that restaurant again. And she's like, "These are for you." I'm like, "What?" And it's like two big sandwiches. She's like, "Yeah, these are for you." And I'm like, "Well, I thought they came from Brian again. I didn't know where they came from." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Are you kidding me?"
These are the best sandwiches in the world. I'm like, well, let's give them to Kyle and Ryan. Like, I want to share the love. Let's give them to them. And she's like, she's laughing. She's like, actually, they came from Kyle and Ryan. I'm like, are you kidding me? They sent me sandwiches. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll take one sandwich and give them the other one back so that they can have it. And then I'll give this sandwich to Joe because I'm not going to, the sandwich is huge. I can't eat another sandwich. But see these little things? These little things where you are connecting with people and these little things where you show love to each other, where you give little surprises, that is just, it's one of the most fulfilling things. It's also, it's one of the, it's they love it too. It's family. It's film family. It's showing each other that you're film family. And when I told Joe, I've got a sandwich for you from Kyle and Ryan, who ordered it and spent extra money, to do this. I mean, that's spending extra money. Joe's like, yep, that's like them. They're all about family. I remember another production supervisor that I worked with, and his name's Kenyon. And I remember exactly where I was because, see, these things burn the memory in your mind. So I'm on set. We had missed breakfast. And so we're like, hey, is there any way that somebody can get breakfast? And now we're supposed to show up early and get breakfast. It's like that's what you're supposed to do. It even says it on the call sheet. Show up and get breakfast because your call time is on set. Like my call time, I'm supposed to be out of my van with my equipment and setting up, not like in my van just arriving. Yeah, so that's everybody. You're supposed to be on set, pushing the lights, on set, setting up the camera card at your call time. And you're supposed to already have had breakfast. Breakfast is a courtesy. It's not like, oh, I didn't get my breakfast. No, it's a courtesy. So anyway, I knew that we just set up and we didn't get our breakfast. And so I was asking one of the PAs, hey, could you guys go see if they have breakfast? Well, they closed down breakfast. So the production supervisor didn't say a word and ordered from a local restaurant these amazing sandwiches and had them delivered to us. Like half an hour later, 45 minutes later, they're like, well, Kenyon ordered these sandwiches for you because you missed breakfast. Here you go. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I can't believe he did that. There's like, it didn't need to do that. It wasn't even like appropriate. Like, we should have been there and gotten breakfast. And when somebody does that for you, you're just like so warmed. You're just like, oh my God, that was amazing. So of course I, texted him when I saw him in person. I'm like, I still can't believe you did that. And now it's years later. Whenever he calls me for a job, I'm like, you're in that extra category where, you ordered us those sandwiches. I'll never forget that. And so I think he does that with other people. He must do that with other people. I have no idea, but I just want you to know when you do little things, little thoughtful things for other people, they don't forget for your entire career. So I really remember that. And then last night, after they offered me that sandwich, and I kept one for Joe and the other one I sent back to production for them to eat. After that, the second AD came up and she's like, Janet, I just want you to know that 7 years ago, you were working with me when I was a production assistant, and you said to me, you're going to be a great first AD. And she goes, I never forgot that. And she's like, now, I'm a second AD. I've got my days. I'm working on the first AD. She's like, yeah, that meant a lot to me. She's like, I've always remembered that. And it just made me, and I get chills right now thinking of that, what you say to people like, oh, I see you as a director. I see you. You're a future producer for sure. Oh, as an actor, oh, you're amazing. Oh, who knows where you're going to be? You're going up, girl. You're going up, them. You're going up. You know, really like encouraging people. Even, you might think, oh, they're amazing, or they're really good at their job, or they've got the right vibe. Make sure you tell them. So, don't give compliments if it's not really there. But these people, that you're wanting to connect with, they're going to be amazing. So, yeah, it'll be there for you. It'll be the truth. I finished the shoot. I'm so tired. I'm still tired. But I just feel so much like warmth and love from the shoot. And it was kind of hard, but not really, little things can come up in a second. And if you're not ready, then you're screwing yourself, but you're also screwing the director and the producer, all these people that you love. You don't want to let them down. You don't, not for a second. So you got to be on your game too, obviously. So that's what it is. It's a balance of social and then being on your game. The next one was talking to the director. So, the first day, this director I had worked with, I think it was like 2 years ago. I haven't worked with him. He's been shooting other places, and so I haven't seen him. But the time I shot with him 2 years ago, I invited him to my party in the back of my house, back there, a pool party. He came with his girlfriend, and that was so delightful. So, somebody on set when they're under stress, and then they come to this party, and he's just like a different person. He's like a kid. He's just like a kid. And he proceeded to go, he's like, do you have any alcohol here? I'm like, yeah, we've got pre-made margaritas. And he's like, oh, you could just see the smile on his face. His face lit up and he went straight for that margaritas and he got totally wasted. They got totally wasted, but they had a great time. They were in the pool and they were like, we had somebody that had like this a sound bath thing and he was like checking out the sound bath and talking to all these really fun eccentric people that I had at my party that some of them he did not know, a lot of them he did know because we all worked together, but also had some people there that were just kind of fun, eccentric, and just like friends of friends of friends. And anyway, so he had a great time. And so that's the last time I saw him. So on this job, of course, the first day, the first thing, I'm going up, give him a big hug. I'm like, oh, how you doing? And then, we don't have time to talk because we got to get ready. And this is like the first shot needs to get off. So, and that's what he's thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, God, it's so great to see you again. Ah, great. And he's like, yeah, I've been shooting other places. And so then the next day um, that whole day, I'm not really talking to him too much, just, we're all busy. The next day, it's like 11 o'clock, and I realized I hadn't, said hi to him or give him a hug at all yet. So I went up to him and I'm like, just want to give you a big hug. And so then he's like, actually, it was a good time when I gave him a big hug because art department was setting something up. So the timing is also really important. And so he's like, it's so funny because and he just started talking. So funny because I want to get ready we're going to go on this cruise. And on we do these elaborate cruises where we make costumes for the cruise and there's a contest and we typically win. And he's like, it's like, and he started showing me some of the past costumes that he's made. I'm like, oh my God, these are like really like high end, over the top, like robots, like, Martians, like, fish, like sharks. I mean, just like crazy over the top, amazing stuff, costumes that he puts together. And he wins. And he's like, yeah, I've got friends from all over the world, like hundreds of people, are like looking forward to what we're gonna create for the next year and the next year. I'm like, God, that's so much fun. He's like, yeah, but you know what? This year I was getting this costume ready, we're getting ready to go, and then this job came in. Took all my time. He's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to compete this year. I'm like, oh, yeah, I can see that. And he's like, yep, every time I make a job, every time I do a vacation, I get a job. Just this conversation and just being involved in his life. And just that also, he's such a cool guy. He, of course, these us artists have other passions, like he's got these costume things. And I bet that when he's on these cruises, that there's people there that are also wealthy, also kind of eccentric. It's all like the same mind game, the mind place that we are in. And they probably want to invest in his films. I mean, when you stand out and you are like one of the most creative ones that goes full out, other people are like, wow, Andy's a director. Of course, he's a director. He does the big stuff. His budgets, he's got like, 200 people crew. He's working for the major brands out there. It's tick, tick, tick. People, companies, consistent work. He's working all the time. He just finished this job. Yeah, I mean, he's a safe bet. He knows what the fuck he's doing, and he does. He's been doing it for a long time, and he does effects. Because he's actually known for these effects that we do on these spots. So, yeah, he's got investors that he could use to shoot a feature film for sure. I mean, you've got it. He's already it. Okay, so that's kind of cool. So remember that for future directors is you're working on set and you're following your passion and you're becoming known with this other passion, whatever it could be. Can be music, can be whatever it is. Like his is the costumes, or it could be, anything out there. But then you also tell them what you do in the industry and people are interested. And that's where you can get your funding. And you will know what you're doing because you're in the business. And you'll have people to shoot your stuff because you're in the business. And there's people all around you all the time at a very high experience level who also have gear, who own gear. And you'll have mentors on set who are interested and who want to help you. And you've got those people and their credibility and their names as part of your story. Plus, you have those people to actually help you shoot something. So you have all of the elements when you combine working on sets with, um, also being out there and meeting people from outside the business who don't understand the business but would love to work in a feature film. A good example of this is AJ. He's like, I would love to invest in a feature film. He's making $10 million a year now, but he doesn't understand the film industry, hasn't worked in it that much, but he wants to invest in it. And you know what I told him? I'm like, hold on to your fucking money right now, dude, because this is when you can lose it. Because there are so many people who will want to take your money who are just starting out. You want to make sure you're hooking up with people who have a track record, who have proof. So just be very prudent. Don't be emotional on this because a lot of people want to take your money and make a film with it who don't know what the F they're doing. So, of course, you guys want to be, and you are, since you're professionals, people that know what you're doing. So, my advice to you guys is start with your $5,000 short film or feature film, shoot a whole feature for 5 grand. And then the next one or the next one, then you can look at taking people's money because you'll have your game together and you'll have people that you can sell it and you can pay these people back who are your investors. That's the whole point. It's a business. So this process that we're on, if you are wanting to be directors, is actually becoming the real deal so that you can actually return people's money and it is a business. Now, the director that I'm working with, he's mostly doing commercials, so he's making 10 grand a day. And he just travels around the world as a director making 10 grand a day for commercials. So, how do you get people to believe in you for doing that? Well, you work on these sets and you start to build proof that you can deliver a spot that is compelling, that people want to watch, that's at that professional level. You've got to be on professional sets to be able to learn how to do that and to find people who will believe in you. So, yeah, the producers are there, the production managers moving up to a producer. Those are the people that you need to make friends with and then make films with and then all move up together. They're there on the professional set. You move up professionally together. Of course, of course. And if you're an actor, there are so many people that are motivated on these professional sets who want you to act in it, who would love you to be a part of it. They don't even maybe know that they know you're an actor, but they don't know what you can do until you're working with them and then they're like, "Oh, we didn't think that we needed you, but can you do this role?" So not always do they even write you into it from the beginning, but they put you into it in the middle of it. But these are professionals. So you know it's going to be shot and you know that they're going to do something with that thing and they have the wherewithal because they're professionals. Okay. So good. So what should you be doing now? Getting on as many sets as you can using this process and meeting people, talking to people. And I realized that yesterday, that's what it is. It's just talking to people. You know, like that's how you should think about it. Not networking or trying to find your team. You're going to find your team by talking to people. So just make it simple in your mind, then you're able to do it. Yes. And okay, back to the thought, back to this director. This director who is so delightful, who I love right now, who I just worked with the last 2 days, I thought he was kind of a hard ass until I met him socially, until I invited him to my party. I'm like, oh my God, you're like a kid. But on set, it's stress talking. So I'm like, ooh, I'm kind of like scared of this guy because he had the demeanor of kind of being a hard ass, but he was just super serious and focused and trying to get the day done. I knew that, but you just still don't really know it until you get to know people socially. So that's interesting, right? And I just know that when I'm with people on set, I am thinking about them. I'm not scared of them. I'm thinking about them. I love them. I'm thinking loving thoughts towards them. And then that allows me in my body to show up in that way. And that's how you connect. Yeah. So you can't be scared of people. You can't be strategic with people. Um, there's no connection when you're strategic. Where there's connection is really just over the sandwich. It's over the shake at craft service. It's over those amazing donuts that they got from that place. I mean, it's how you're connecting with people is just connecting with them. Just like, oh my gosh, how are you today? Did you sleep okay? Did you try this thing? Can I get you a coffee? I'm going that way. It's just warm, loving, caring about people. So how you do that is you get over your fear of people, your fear of what to say, and how you do that, how you do that. Thoughts. You watch your thoughts and create new thoughts that go with connecting with people. And it can be just as simple as, oh my God, I love them. I just love that person. And you may not really have had that many conversation with them to have that thought, but you can have that thought towards them. Yeah. Like somebody that you barely talk to, you can be thinking, oh my God, I love that person. You can. And you might be like, I just love the way they're trying to do a great job and everything. So do that, do it with everybody, love everybody. And then it will come through, and you will have all these people that love you back on set, that are coming by, that are talking to you. And then your problem becomes, I got to stay on my job. And it's true, you got to stay on your job because it's easy to get distracted with all this love coming towards you. But you'll be in a really great state, and they understand. Oh, they understand because they're doing the same thing, you know? I just got to tell you, you guys, we are all such sensitive souls on set. We all are such artists, sensitive souls. So yeah, we need each other. This is it. My next little note to you is, yeah, the key makeup artist. I've known her for about 10 years. I guess I met her right away when she first started because she started 10 years ago. And she got married to a producer, and she was an artist. She's a painter. And he's like, well, you've got to actually work and make money. And so he's like, you should go into makeup. And she's like, well, maybe I could do special effects makeup, just putting some like hair and makeup on people. That's so below me. I'm not interested in that. And he's like, well, we're going to have a kid, so you got to make your living. So she's like, okay, well, I'll go to special effects makeup school. So he put her, she wasn't making too much as an artist, so they went to special effects makeup school, or she did, and she learned it. And then she realized that it's fun to be in the school and everything, but when you come out, then it's like you're working in a shop. She's like, it's all men. They sit in the shop, they just eat all the time, and they're just, they're just very quirky and very like their lives are that shop and making effects. She's like, that's not the life I want. I didn't want to be around those guys. She's like, yeah, they're amazing, but I realized that wasn't the life I want. Typical story with school, right? You think you want to do it until you realize, well, that's the life I got to live. So that's why I really like you guys to not invest a lot of money in school, because you get exposure to it on set. And then you can see what it's like. You can get a feel for it by talking to people and then getting invited into the shop to see if you want to do it. Oh my God, they would totally like, yeah, come on in. We're actually got a big job that we're making a bunch of heads for next week. Come on in and we can show you that. And how you get invited to those places, you got to be on sets. And then you have some credibility there. Oh, you're working as a PA on set. Oh, you know so and so. Okay, yeah, sure, come on in. So now she's like, okay, actually, I realized that this producer, her husband, can get her on jobs as an assistant. Okay, 600 bucks a day. She can learn from people that have been doing it for 10 years. And the nepotism there, yep, he's getting her on jobs as an assistant because he can. He's a freaking producer. So he gets her on jobs. She's learning. And then she realizes that actually, with my skills, I'm really good with people. I can work all the time doing makeup and hair. And I can learn this stuff. And she's smart. You know, she's an artist. So she starts to learn wigs and airbrushing and makeup, and she's a great assistant. She realizes that her abilities, like her superpower, is with people. Like people like her, they want her around. That is really good. So he gave her the start. And then after people started working with her on set, they're like, hey, can you do hair and makeup on this thing and this thing, this thing? And so she just took off. So, yeah, she's doing great. And so I was talking to her on set about the special effects thing and how she got started and everything. And then I was asking her, hey, did you see the Kate Hudson and Hugh Jackman film Sing Song Blue? She's like, I started watching it. I couldn't finish it. She's like, the wigs, they were so bad. I'm like, really? I didn't even notice the wigs. I'm like, okay, I thought I didn't even notice that. I just loved it because it was a true story from Wisconsin. That's where I'm from. And so then later in the day, we're actually like all morning, we're doing these kind of, stuff. I can't say what it was, but normal kind of stuff. Then we move in to the location inside. And now we're doing this effects thing because remember, this director is really great at effects. And we're pulling the clothes off of him and pulling a wig off of him. Anyway, he had two wigs on, one wig on top of the other wig, and they pull off the first wig. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe how good two wigs on top of each other, how well it looked, how good it looked. So I was telling her, talk about wigs. Those are amazing. I'm like looking at his hair, trying to see that it's a wig. I cannot tell. She's like, well, thank you so much. So she really, appreciated the compliment, which was true. So notice these things, how people are doing their job, and notice what's so amazing about it. Like, it's so easy to be in a day and just be like not noticing the amazing things that people are pulling off that would really mean something about their job. So, yes, that's a really good note. Then, we were all tired, okay? And my boom operator, Lucian, said something really great. He's like, yeah, my body's tired, but my mind says, you're fine. He's like, I just keep telling myself, yeah, my body's telling me I'm tired, that something's wrong, I'm tired. But my head says, no, you're fine. I'm like, that's right. That is really important because if you're like on set and you're just like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, I can't, what's coming up next? Oh, what is, and you can definitely get into that where you're just like, I'm just so fucking tired. I can't wait to sleep. I've done that so many times. But you have to use your mind to tell yourself, no, your body's tired. Your eyes are tired. Yes, but you're fine. You you got a brain that can direct your body. You're fine. And then if you can take a nap at lunch, get a little shut eye, do it, because then you will be able to feel rejuvenated, which that's what I did. And I felt much better. But you just have to use your brain to direct your body. Yeah, this director, it's kind of cool because you do a funny thing like this one, pulling the clothes off of somebody to reveal somebody else, and you kind of get known for it. So before with this director, we had a Ritter fan, a huge Ritter fan. You know what those are? Those are airplane fans that blew all the clothes off of this guy. So he wasn't naked, but he looked naked on camera because they gave him like a naked suit. So we did that. So that gets attention and that gets him more work. So you do these funny little things on camera. And once you learn how to do them, and you should, how do you learn how to do these things? Well, you watch other people doing it. And then you have a variation of that you can do yourself in the future. So you got to be there to see how they professionally do it, and then you can do it. You'd be all over that. Plus, you make friends with the director, and he'll tell you. I mean, everybody is going to use their creativity for different things. It's not going to be the same thing because you can't do what he did because he already did it. So that is the way it is in the business. That's why the creativity, it never stops. We're always doing something new. And how you get new things, you are coming up with new things. People are coming up with new things all the time. That's why you're creative. So that's why people are happy to share once you're on sets and you're there. Also on that shoot where we blew off all the clothes of the guy with the Ritter fan, we also shot, I remember this other funny thing. The actor had this barbecue sauce and he's just pouring barbecue, squeezing barbecue sauce into his mouth and it's spilling out of his mouth. And it's just so ridiculous. And, it's just like it's just like barbecue sauce everywhere. And he keeps putting more and more barbecue sauce in. Like, it's ridiculous. It's funny. It's over the top, but it's exactly what is just gets people like laughing, eyeballs. They remember, oh, that funny spot with the barbecue sauce. Yes. And I remember another one a couple years ago where the guy's like just pouring M&Ms into his mouth and they're overflowing out of his mouth. And he's just like, and we're just like, and the director's like, yeah, chew it like that, chew it like that. We're like, what is it? It's just so weird how he's chewing it. And then later we find out that he has dentures. And that's why it looks so funny. It looks so weird. And it's just like, it looked like a Sesame Street character with just chewing these M&Ms. Or actually, I think it was Skittles that were just flowing out of his mouth. So these funny things, you guys, you see them. Now, after every set that we had to do this effect, taking off all the clothes and blowing the wig off, they had to reset it, reset it, reset it. So these shots take a long time because you take the first take and then you have to reset everything. So you kind of know when you're working on this, everybody, camera, light, everybody knows, okay, we're going to slow down now because we're doing resets. And it's probably at least 10 minutes reset. And a reset could be where, something explodes and there's confetti all over it. Got to reset it back because we're going to be going back to we're going to be doing the wide shot, probably do a couple of shots close up and then it's the wide shot, or maybe start with a wide shot and then move in. But yeah, that's the rhythm of the set, the reset. And then there's certain people on those sets that are very involved in that shot and they're on those resets working, working, working. And other people, like sound department, is just waiting. Just maybe doing some small adjustments, but just kind of waiting. And then you have a lot of conversations. So with every department, there's times where you're on and there's times where there's time to have conversations. And use those times. Don't just be on your phones. Talk to people. Talk to people. This is you're building your career. And then I took some notes on how the director was directing the actor. And so he's like, so obviously we're all creative, so we're always watching movies. And, you got those iconic movies. You have to watch them. You have to know them. You have to know certain scenes because the people that you're directing, the actors you're working with, they know them too. So there was one shot. He's like, give me a Napoleon Dynamite reaction. Like, oh, I'm such an idiot. Give me that reaction. So the actor knew exactly what that was and was able to do it. So you're knowing, and then you got to know it too because you're going to probably, as a director, um, show them what you want them to do, and then they will do it. So yeah, that's little references. Like, you can't say like, oh, I'm such an idiot, or you can say like, oh, I'm such an idiot. But then you kind of give him some extra context, the Napoleon Dynamite. And now he gives him a direction, like, do I look cool? Do I look cool? Like, now think, do I look cool as you say your line? Yeah, good direction, see? And you get to watch this when you're on set. You want to be kind of near the director if you can so that you can hear these things. Now, one of the things that directors are always doing that new directors mess up with is they don't realize how it's going to be edited together. So editing is so important as a director so that okay, I'm going to need for you to honk the horn immediately after that line, almost on top of that line so I can fit it all in. So this director's also an editor. So yeah, he knows that. Plus, you learn this, but new directors, they let the actors take too long. And actors, they get into their zone. They don't realize that, that beat, we don't want that beat. Naturally that beat would happen. But for camera, no, that beat needs to happen. That beat needs to go away and you go directly into the action because we need to cut that into the next scene. So you will learn that as a director, but you'll also learn that by just watching directors. And there's millions of little points like that when you're there watching those directors going like, oh, that's the reason. Oh, that's a great point. Oh, that's a great point. Like look away right then or look to her right then, right after that line immediately. And then they capture it and now they got it. Now, the first couple of takes, they're not going to probably get that right away. This is refinement. That's why you do take 3, 4, 5, 6. Hopefully, after 6, you're done. But I have done 40 takes with some directors. But then you also see when you're working with certain directors that might be newer, they'll do so many takes that they think they didn't get it or they want another option, another option. Well, those directors may not work again because that can actually be getting them fired. Because I've also heard producer and agency and executives go like, we got this already. Come on, we got to move on. We're not going to get our day. And once they start talking like that, that director can be getting fired. Because yeah, we might, if we don't get the shots that we're promised, see, then they're going to fire him. They're just going to work with somebody else. Him, her, them, whatever. They're going to work with somebody else. So all of these things, everybody's working for somebody. And those people that can fire that director, they're working for somebody. So just know that there's so much pressure there. Like everybody's working for somebody. So 4-day shoot. I got another shoot that came in that was 3 days over those days. And this company's actually how it happened was I was holding for 3 days with a different company. They had holded me for a month in advance. Then another job came in with a production supervisor. Remember, it's not always a producer, production supervisor, and it's a 4-day shoot. And it's with a big company that I want to get in with them more. So I really want to do her shoot. But the other people called me first. Okay, this directly applies to you because this is going to happen all the time. So I reached out to the people that were holding me first, and I said, hey, I've got this 4-day shoot, and I just wanted to check your status. Now, she couldn't book. They couldn't book. So I'm like, okay, let's just get together on Monday and see where everybody's at. And so the first people that were holding me, they still couldn't book on Monday. And I gave them the option. I said, well, if you guys can't book, you're totally covered because my partner, Joe, is a mixer. He works with all of my same clients. A lot of people are asking for him or for me, so he can totally do your job. So you're covered. And they're like, okay, that sounds good. I'm like, is that good with you? And they're like, oh, that sounds great. So then that's what ended up happening. Joe ended up doing that job. Now, before they officially booked him, he just gave me one little text message. He's like, Joe's great, right? And I'm like, yes, he's great. You're going to love him. They just have they need that extra confirmation because they haven't worked with him before. Because, it's like their ass is on the line. If there's a complaint, if he's not liked, if the director doesn't like them, it's going to come back to them, but it's also going to come back to me. Yeah. And then they will never call me again if that happened. But that's not going to happen because they're going to love him and it's all going to be great. But just so that you understand how the power of referrals, you don't refer somebody that you don't know for sure. So how do you know them? From being on set together. So now I'm working with this company that I wanted to, that's the 4-day job. And she's like, yep, you're booked. I'm like, okay, great. So I'm booked. Well, then the job is like over budget. And she's like, we're looking at where we can cut. And she's like, we might end up maybe dropping that 4th day. That's what they ended up doing. Even though I'm booked for 4 days, I'm not going to get paid for that 4th day. She said it, she put it, and did I remind her of it? No, because she knows that. So she's like, it looks like it's going to be 3 days now. I'm like, that's all good. Sounds good. Great. And so sometimes they say you're booked and then you're not actually booked. So this can happen and they know that, but you're on the team with them. Okay. They use the booking word very carefully because it means that if you're booked, like you've turned down other work and they're going to have to pay you for those days that they promised. That's what they should do. But since it was a multi-day job, 3 days, I think that they felt that they're not, if it was just a 1-day job and they said booked, they might pay, they may not. But, they're not in a good position. They're not happy about that they said. And then it's not their control that they were over budget, that the producer came back and now it's looking like this. And you said that you would book the crew that you booked these certain people. So it just puts them in a tough position. So everybody gets in this position sometimes. But it's helpful for you to know what's going on, so that you can not just come at it from your perspective, but be part of their team, knowing that, yeah, when they say book and now they're like, we can't actually do that last day, they are in a tough position. And you just understand that.
If you are ready to work in the film industry and you want to now take your career to that next level, go to friendsinfilm.com/join. You can learn our implementation system, and then you can even take it all the way by doing our flagship program, the Into the Industry program. It all starts with friendsinfilm.com/join. See you there.